Champ.
Vinny,
Bud.
welcome back. I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is you.
Yep. I am the elephant.
You are here in person, back from Japan, in the studio.
Yes. Bud. Yeah, I've been back for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks now. Back for a month from Japan, and this is pretty surreal, buddy. First time in the DTD studio.
Yes.
It's my studio, and I've never been in here.
First thoughts, you hate it.
Yeah, it's a bit drab, but no, buddy, this is an exceptional freaking moment, man. Can't believe it. Got you in here, got Mo, third amigo, behind the scenes, doing it live. It's just so much, just like seeing you. It's been so long. We're just through the screen. Such a different experience. Looking into those hazel eyes.
Those deep hazel eyes. I mean, we've come a long way since episode 1 being on Zoom. No video, just audio. I was up in Oregon. You were down in LA.
Yep.
Wow.
Looking back at that, yeah, we were quite timid. Didn't know what we were doing. Still don't, but now we got an office. So things are upgrading. Yeah, man, it's been this period. I mean, this kind of just caps off a very surreal and transformative period of my life, and both of our lives. But I feel like I'm just going through this phoenix era, is what I've called it, of being reborn from the ashes and going through some difficulties and just like figuring shit out, in a way that I can't explain. But things are kind of just, the stars are aligning, and we'll get into all of that. But it's a very surreal time. It's been an insane couple of weeks. My birthday last week. Just turned 29 and went to my first Burning Man, kind of on a whim, with a couple crew of best friends, and we'll get into that as well. But it's just been surreal. Freaking surreal.
So glad to see you. I'm so glad you got to come down and hang out for the weekend. What are you doing back in California?
That's a great
Tell us
question.
a little bit about why you're here.
That's a great question. So yeah, it was not planning to come back. I was supposed to be, my birthday was last week. I was gonna do like the solo hike in Japan. I was gonna climb this mountain range that's like known for like Buddhist rebirth and death and rebirth and maybe a third rebirth, several rebirths.
You need a few of those.
I was looking forward to it. But yeah, so just leading up to that, it was, so kind of go back to the beginning, and then I'll
start from the end.
Come from the end.
Rewind, and then somewhere in the middle we'll pick up.
Perfect. It was 4 months ago. I've talked about this on the podcast in my solo episodes, but hit rock bottom with like my back, and was feeling like I was going through a lot of emotional turmoil. And it all kind of just collapsed. And I think it happened exactly as it was meant to. It was my second year in Japan. Things were pretty tough, trying to find a new job, trying to heal my back physically. So I've had this like chronic pain for 6 years, which I thought was physical. And I was in this program to heal it and like fix it. I thought that was the answer, but it was getting worse. And I was like in this very tumultuous state of like, what the fuck is going on? I can't live like this anymore. I thought I was I was ready to throw away the dream. I was gonna walk away from the show.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
No, I was ready. I was really questioning for the first time, am I meant to be a travel writer? Am I meant to be doing this? Am I built to be just like in foreign countries and living in new places and traveling without thinking about my body in like a way of like, I need to protect it? I still I'm a healthy person. That's also why it's so perplexing why I was in pain. But
yes,
I was like, maybe I'm just not made to live this life.
Just a fragile constitution.
I am a body made of glass and paper. I'm like, maybe that's it. Maybe like I gotta just kind of find my routine and like find a new way. And that was really the low point that I needed to even consider that. And then considering that made me realize like, fuck no. Like that is why I'm on earth, is to do what I'm doing now and to be on this incredible journey where I don't know what's going to happen next, but like I'm just writing about it and getting so much life from it. And I think it took me hitting, so like it was rock bottom because I had like 4 flare-ups in my back in 1 month. So I was, every week my back would like go out, and it was just like this spastic, just like, it feels like bolt of electricity just like wrecks my back, and then I'm just immobilized. I'm like, what is going on? And that's when I started considering, like, is this what I'm meant to be doing?
Well, not only that, but it was when you were on that like documentary filmmaking trip. So you got this dream gig to go
Yep.
from Tokyo to San Francisco, something to do with coffee. You were writing, you were filming. So it was this
Yes.
dream come true scenario. And during that's when the flare up started happening.
Great point. Yeah, so it was kind of a random job opportunity to go work on this specialty coffee documentary with this Japanese crew and this main entrepreneur who's owned several specialty coffee like shops around Tokyo and around Japan, and also specialty chocolate. And he's a photographer and like filmmaker. And I was asked through like family friend to help him work on it and to go with this crew, and went out to San Francisco. And this was all also part of understanding the back pain and stuff, because on that trip I was like very afraid of making mistakes, and this has always been my pattern throughout my life: fear of judgment of people who I respect, like want to respect me and that I respect and want to make a good impression. They were speaking in Japanese the whole time. I could not really contribute much to the conversation, so I was like, what am I supposed to do? And on that trip I had 2 flare-ups. So like the first one, I was pushing through. I was just like lifting a bag of like, and I've always been afraid of saying like, oh, I can't do this because of my back. So I'm like, you look at me and you're a kid in your 20s, you should be able to like lift all the camera gear and stuff. And I'm just like, oh no.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this guy? Can't even lift the bags. So of course, putting pressure on myself about that. Back goes out. I'm just kind of pushing through it. Still, like that day, went to like a specialty chocolate convention. Just walking around filming, do photography the whole time, and it was kind of brutal, but pushed through it. And then a couple of days later, went out again, and that was rock bottom. That was like, I called you crying, just like, dude, I don't know what to do. I had to go to work in like 30 minutes with this crew. I just didn't know what to do. And that was when I was like, can I do this? Like, if they asked me to come on the next trip to South America or something, which is like the dream, can I actually do it?
Right.
And I'm like, maybe not. Like, maybe this is just not the life for me. And went back to Japan, and reached out to my group, this back program that I was in, the BBB. The best people, like, love them so much and like learned so much from that experience. And one of the guys in the group was like, you should reach out to this girl, Diana. She was going through the same thing with her SI joint, which is what I thought was like broken on me, is the thing that kept going out. Reached out to her, and she's like, yeah, it's not physical. It's an emotional thing. Like, she just went through her whole like similar situation where she hit rock bottom and like had this crazy coming to like God moment where this stranger like told her pretty much like, you're holding so much emotional weight and baggage in your body and your back. And she had like, they'd never met before, and she's just like, you gotta forgive your mom.
Wow.
Yeah. And she just like broke down crying, and that was the beginning of like her healing journey, realizing that it was like, it's called mind body syndrome, TMS. So she became my spiritual guide, like my supernatural aid on the hero's journey. And that's when the hero's journey really began. Like, I thought this whole time that I was already in it, that I was on the journey. I'm out in the world, I'm in the darkness, the unknown. But this made me see, and Santana, who I've had on the show a couple of times, legend, he's like, dude, you were refusing the call. Like, this is the true embarking on the true hero's journey, to go within and to unpack all the stuff that has been creating pain in your body. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take the next like 3 months at least, but like focus for the next 3 months on just healing and understanding what's going on inside of me. start therapy and like treat it like a full-time job to heal. And called it my spiritual odyssey, and that was the beginning of a pretty intense summer in Japan. It was just me. I just moved to Tokyo after teaching English for a year and a half in Osaka, and so hot in the summers. So it was like kind of an intense time where I was trying to heal, and like without having like you there or like Morgan or just like somebody, even just my best friends in Japan, they're all in Osaka. Without having them there, it was tough for me to like be easy on myself and to just, that's pretty much it. Like I was just like treating this like so intense now. Like I have to figure this out. I have to unpack all the stuff. And it was just an intense go at it. And I think after like 3.5 months, like I think I gotta just go home. Like this has been, I just need to get out of the heat. I need to see my family and friends. I mean, I don't want to be alone on my birthday, like after going through all this stuff. And just decided like a week and a half later to come home, and our buddy Thatcher was like, dude, come to Burning Man. And at first I'm like, no, like I can't do that. Like I'm in this phase of like getting really healthy. I'm back to like working out hard again and everything. Like, no, that sounds funny, but like I'm not going to Burning Man. Lo and behold, a couple days later, I was like, Morgan, dude, should we go to Burning Man? I'm like, fuck, maybe we should. Maybe this is like the change up that I need. Instead of like, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna get in amazing shape, I'm gonna stick to my program. I hadn't been drinking for 3 months. Like I'm just gonna stay on this strict regime. Off social media for that whole time too. So, then he's like, should we go to Burning Man? Like, probably. Like, about to turn 29. This is, I guess I'll have one more time in my 20s to do it, but this is like, it felt like the stars just aligned to go for this. Maybe one last time, but like this one last time. I think there will be more because I've loved it so goddamn much, but...
And I think everyone knows what Burning Man is, but if you don't, Burning Man is a 70,000 person festival in the desert. There's music, there's art, there's a lot of chaos.
Yeah, I'll walk us through it in a moment here, but it's just this, I saw it as just a blank canvas in the desert, Black Rock City, Nevada. And they don't set up anything. They set up pretty much a grid for a city. So like you have where you're going to set up your spot, but there is no stages. There's no vendors. There's nothing like that in like a normal festival. It's just a blank canvas for human beings to come in and just like be animals and just create for themselves and to co-create and to share and to create insane things and a lot of drugs and, people are partying and it's the greatest party in the world. But like the energy of it is so much different than like a party or just a festival. It's like just this, everyone wants to, there's just this, like the fundamentals of it come from such a good place of like love and caring for each other and just being human and like animals and just wild. And it was the most insane experience I've ever had. And I'd heard about it in the past a bit, like Thatcher's gone a few times and told us about it, but I never expected that I would go. And when Mo like brought up like maybe we should go, I'm like, damn dude, this could be, I think this is actually what I need. Like I've been at this thing for 3.5 months, like it's been so intense. I need to like just shake things up and have this experience. Like what was life about if not to have these experiences, especially when you work so hard with the rest of your time and like you're going at it and try to find your meaning in life and like your path, and these experiences are part of that. I think these peak experiences, like if you go through all of life just cruising and sticking to the routine and everything, and I'm not saying just like doing drugs and like partying, it could be just anything that throws you into a new environment where things are just like, this is absolutely insane, you're uncomfortable, things are different, and just the world just seems different. Like you feel like there's magic in the world again. And like you come back from those experiences and everything changes. And it's hard to. Like, this is something I just wrote about, how to bring what you find in those peak experiences back into everyday life. I'll talk about that in a moment. If you got anything, we'll take a step back. But
one thing that I think is really interesting about Burning Man is that concept of radical self-reliance. So I haven't been, but from what you've shared is everyone comes in bringing enough food, enough water, enough supplies for themselves. And the whole ethos of it is you just share. Like, you just go around and people are offering you hot dogs and picklebacks. And tell us a little bit more about that.
yeah, so I'll walk the Burning Man before I talk about coming back from it. So yeah, we go on. So I plan it coming home in a week. It's like, okay, let's do it. We're going. Me and Mo get tickets. We get set up with Camp Butter, which is like our best friends, this crew. Thatcher and like some of his best friends from Santa Cruz and growing up, and our friends from college, and just like the squad that they're like professional event planner partiers. They're just like, they got this stuff so dialed, and like they're DJs and make it so much fun. And I would never be exposed to this world if not for like Thatcher. And it's so funny because in college, like me, Morgan, Thatcher, one of our other best friends, Severin, we lived together for 3 years, and like I just remember some nights just hearing Thatcher just like making music in the barn. We had a barn in the backyard, and he was just bumping in there into the wee hours of the morning. I was like, fuck this, dude. Like, I can't take this. And now like he's exposed us to just this world of music and just epic shit and just creating, and like it's insane. So yeah, this thing Camp Butter, I knew like maybe a quarter of them before. It was like 20 of us in this like little village. So it's basically, they create the city, just grids. It's all based around like a clock. So we were staying at 315, and then they have like the alphabet. So it's 315D. That's how you'd find us. That's our coordinate. And we have a village of like Camp Butter, and then like 3 or 4 other little setups, like camps. And we get there on Tuesday, and it kind of just begins. It's 6 nights. I mean, it goes for like 2 weeks, but we were going for 6 nights, and that's kind of the main event. Like, people just go and kind of set up early and stuff. You could bring RVs, you could just bring tents for camping, but anything goes. And yeah, the whole concept is, radical self-reliance. Like, you bring all your food for the week. The only thing they sell is ice. Everything you're drinking. And then the cool part is you bring like what you want to share with the community. So it's like capitalistic. It's not capitalistic, but like
socialistic?
No, what's just the framework? The kind of
Economy?
society. Economy, there you go. Generosity economy, where it's like everything is based off just giving, trading, and just giving like anything away, like anything you want. It's really hot. You're in this desert. There's no animals. So, you bring a ton of water, like coconut water, Gatorade, all that stuff. But also, you walking around, there's like, it's a city, and you'll see people giving out cold brew coffee, fish, hot dogs, matcha, and of course, alcohol at all hours of the day. It's like gin and tonics, and it's like a guy just like chilling with like a bounty of just really nice gins, and like he's like, yeah, cool. Just go take a seat. Might be 4 in the morning, might be 4 in the afternoon, might be 8 o'clock in the morning. Just have like a gin and tonic, or picklebacks, or literally anything.
Yeah.
So they could get the concept. And camps will be like, they'll have their own schedule. So it'll be like hot dogs 2 to 4 on Thursday, or like the Orgy Dome 12 to 7 p.m.
That's
Friday.
where you found yourself quite often.
I spent a lot of time there. Yes, both men and women's side. And it's just insane. Like, and you would think with this much freedom, there's literally no rules except you can't piss on the playa. So it's the city's built around the center canvas, which is the playa. just a canvas for people to set up art installations, to create anything they want. Like it's just these insane monuments, giant bananas, and just I can't even explain what you find out there. And then there's also these art like barges. So these creations, these machines that are like goes up to like the size of a pirate ship, like a huge ancient like ship for sailing the seven seas, and they'll just be like decked out, DJ set and like dance floor on top, and like dragons, and some people are like, there's this billionaire who created this one with dragons, and he like did this whole like he had like a wedding. It was way over the top and like kind of the antithesis of Burning Man. And it's kind of funny, the wife, like during the ceremony, she was supposed to like fly down from like a crane and like kind of enter the scene, and then, shit about a movie, the line like got caught, but she's just like hanging there for a little bit.
No way.
As like the music's going and stuff, and she goes back to like, and it was the worst part about Burning Man. I was just like, dude, like this is not what it's for. Like a billionaire just having this, but then of course the universe kind of made that happen. It was pretty damn funny. And then we saw like a guy propose to his wife like in front of like this crazy heart art installation. Like that's beautiful.
That's cool.
Our buddy popped the champagne and like showered him and stuff. That was awesome. Like it's just this blank canvas for humans to just go wild and do anything they want. And you think it's like, okay, it's like 4 a.m. They probably have like no music at this time. You could play music, like the loudest music you'll ever hear at any hour. So it'd be like you're riding home at 5 a.m. on your bike, and you bring bikes. So everybody has a bike to get around. And was like my favorite part, just ripping through the desert completely flat on like mountain bikes. You can bring an e-bike or whatever you want, but bring a bike.
Yeah.
And you come home and you just find like a crazy little DJ set like out in the deep playa, or like in this, in the city somewhere. And it's just like one DJ just like still bumping at like 5 a.m, just bumping tunes so loud. And you're like, you could do whatever you want, or it'll be like a sick little squad, like a bunch of our girlfriends that had like a girls' night, and then the guys' night. Apparently the girls went to like this one show. Could you pull up the name, Mo? Who's the guy? Remember the name? The DJ? I forget his name, but he did like, we looked at his Instagram later, and he's like, all right, doing like a set at Burning Man, and he shows it, and it's like nobody really there, and he's just cruising. And it's like, and then these girls show up, and it's like our friends, and just there. It's like, and they were there the whole night. They were the only ones there. Like
Wow.
the sickest vibe. It's just them doing like, just having a fun time on the dance floor, and just sick stuff like that. Like you don't know where you're gonna find. Anything goes. And when you give that much freedom to people, like you would think like, oh, maybe there'll be fights, things will break out, but it's like the most just beautiful event where people are just cool to each other. There's like talks. We kind of stumbled into a group of like mountaineers, mountain climbers, like some insane, some of the best in the world. And they're just doing this talk on like mountain climbing, and people are eating hot dogs and drinking whiskey, and it was insane.
So it sounds like it has that utopian music festival vibe where everyone is there for the same reason, to have fun, to connect, to make friends. And that's where the good, kind vibe comes from. Everyone's sharing.
Yep.
How do you bring things back from that experience? And maybe it's Burning Man, maybe it's another peak experience in your life, but how do you bring life lessons, some meaning back from these wild experiences that are almost indescribable?
Yes. That's the question. One of the coolest things about Burning Man, so there's the two final nights. There's Saturday night, there's Sunday. Saturday is they burn the man. So it's just like this constructed man on top of like this dome of art, pretty much. It's like a bunch of rooms. It's like a maze you could walk through. And the Saturday night is like the Burning Man. So it goes off at like 11 or something, and it's probably the biggest party in the world. Like I'd never, everybody. So like all the art barges and the cars and everything that are usually just roaming this open wasteland for the whole week, they all just surround the man, and just create this ring of epicness and lights and you go there and it's like the thing just like they burn it down. It's the greatest fireworks show like I've ever seen, but like I can't. It was just so absurdly insane. Like just freaking Bastille Day in France. Like I'm like wow. So this is where the money goes. Like they put it all into this because there's nothing else. So that's like you're just raging. It's insane. And the next day, so they built two things: the Burning Man and a temple. And it's no religion, agnostic. Like it's just a place to rest. Basically, it's a respite from anybody who's out there and just need a break. And you go there, it's this wooden structure where there's just all over the walls. There's like writing. There's pictures of people who have passed away that people bring. And you go there to like bring stuff to burn away the past, to immortalize things, really to just create something and like watch it burn, And I brought all my stuff that I'd done over the years, like regarding my back. So like notes, just like my whole wall was just like notes of like, you gotta do this, and inspirational quotes and stuff like keep the faith and all this stuff about my back. Took all that stuff from Tokyo, took it off the wall, and taped it in the temple. And Sunday, they burned the temple, and we went with like a lot of people leave at that point, like leave during that day because the Saturday night is over. So it was like 8 of us left, and we go. It was like this crazy dust storm, like whiteout, so just insane storm. And the weather was so good so far that like it was just bound to happen. And that was the most surreal like experience of my life. It was insane, just burning the temple into just this, the red glow of like the fire, and then just this whiteout storm, and everybody's like, and we were just with our crew, just like 8 of us, just hugging and crying and passing around some wine and cheese, and just like really intense. Like you're just in this desert, and then it felt like Dune. I was just like this smoldering flame, and
on Arrakis.
Like it was straight up otherworldly. Like I'm like, man, people just don't know this is even happening, and this is like the craziest thing in the world. And just like watching all the stuff that people brought just burning away, and people crying, and that was very emotional. That's what I really liked about Burning Man, was like just the ritual of it all. And like it's not just this insane party, it's like it's really to bring people together for this beautiful common, what I see it as is like not a common goal, but just a common realization that we're all going through the same shit and nobody has it figured out, and we're all dealing with stuff, and like we might as well go at it together and burn away our past together and cry together, get weird together, and just have this insane experience where it's highs and lows. Like I've said all the highs, but like it's pretty gnarly. It's definitely tough out there. It's so hot and like dusty, and you're just not showering and just surviving, and that's what makes it so special. Like it's just that those two opposites that are just creating this wild experience. And it was so goddamn cool. And bringing it back, like you come back from these insane experiences, and this is what I felt the first time I came back from Japan. I couldn't even talk that time because I knew for the first time, I'm like, I want to live there. I wanted to be a travel writer. People would ask, it was like right before Christmas, so we had like the Christmas party, and they'd be like, how's Japan? I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. Like it was beyond life-changing, and that's what Burning Man felt like. And I could give like the glib answers of like, it's amazing, without like actually explaining it and like what it means to you. It's, I don't know, it's like almost hard to hard to say because like it feels inauthentic and like, you know.
I think it takes some time too after a big trip like Japan or Burning Man or any sort of big vacation. It's so hard to come back and give the 10-word answer of how it was.
Mm-hmm.
You need some time to reflect, to unpack, to ruminate, to sit with it all.
It's a process for sure. And yeah, came back from this and just like, damn, that was definitely life-changing. Met amazing people, and as you start to miss the camaraderie and, you know, just the craziness. But yeah, writing is how I start processing. Like, it definitely takes a couple days from like, I have no idea what even to write. But then like, wrote the story yesterday that I'm quite happy with, of just, I just sat, like how I did it, just sat down and like, what do you feel? And the first thing I wrote was just like, I wonder why I'm a writer. I don't know why that was like the first thing that came out about like Burning Man and like what I was feeling, but it just turned into this thing of like, I'm a writer because I have these experiences and like I have to, the way I process them is by writing and like telling a story about them, hopefully showing the world that these like crazy experiences are really important and part of what makes us human and why we're here. But like, so I was kind of questioning like, why am I a writer? Because I guess I have to do this. And what the kind of the meat of it was about is like, you have these experiences and then you're expected to just go back to everyday life and like, oh, I went to Burning Man, it was great. Like, oh, you went to like, you know, it sounds like just this hippie in the desert experience that you had, or drug fest or whatever. But it's like, no, that actually changed my life. That was insane. And I don't really know how to explain it to you because you didn't go through it. But like, how do I bring what I felt out there into everyday life? And I think it was like, you have these experiences and you kind of see yourself in a different way, whether good or bad. Like I think with Japan for the first time, you saw yourself in a different way and it changed everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I got back from that first Japan trip, sounds like you were unable to speak about it because you knew you wanted to move there and couldn't express how meaningful it was to you. I got back from Japan and I was like, oh shit, time to change my entire life, time to stop drinking, time to quit my job in finance, time to follow my dreams for the first time ever.
Dude, I mean, that's a perfect example of like why these experiences are important. Can you explain why you like had that? I mean, it was because of that big night out, but like, why did you feel like you had to get out of finance because of that trip?
Yeah, it was all because, yes, there was the big night of going out to a karaoke hotel and drinking lots of beer and Red Bull and all, you know, on the table at 4 a.m., whatever. But it was really listening to a podcast the next morning when I was violently hungover, susceptible to information at that point, and learning about the top regrets of the dying. Learning that the number one regret people have at the end of their life is, I wish I would have had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expect of me. And it was the final straw. It was that last piece that clicked into place that made me realize, wow, I am not living a life that's true to myself. And if I don't make these big changes when I come back, I'm going to end up on my deathbed with serious regrets. I'm going to blink. I'm going to wake up at 55, still be working in finance, and realize that I settled for a life that wasn't mine, that didn't excite me. And I think you can use those big trips, those big moments as a springboard into the change you want to make. It would have been a lot harder for me to make that change. I probably wouldn't have realized I needed to make that change if I hadn't gone on that trip. If I was just in the normal life, in the routine. Routines are great, but they can keep you comfortable and keep the important moments, the aha moments, hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a perfect kind of break point and a chance for me to change everything.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's like we need to step outside of just the world that we're in to see it, to see the world that we're in. And it's like we got so caught up in, like when I was out there, in the burn, like I would just ask people, I'm like, is that real or is this? Like, is that life or is this? And you could say like, what do you know, you're on drugs and like, but like, who's to say? And it's not like I want to move to like Black Rock Desert, just, but it's like, what I mean by that or this is like, it seems like the real world is bereft of magic and like meaning and like depth. So I'm like, here you have these insane things happening where it's just mind blowing and you're meeting people and having these connections. And like, is this like concept of life? Is that it? Or like, is that life where it's like routine? You're supposed to get the job, you're supposed to get married, all these shoulds. Is that life? And it had me thinking a lot. And I think this is also like what you do these experiences for. And also, when you come back, just like, it makes you think, like, am I actually happy coming home to this life? How? And what I realized, I was like, wow, I get the same joy and like just meaning from traveling, like living in foreign places and being in the unfamiliar and on this journey that I get from like going to Burning Man. And that's why I came home to Japan. I was just as shell shocked, and I was like, I don't even know how to be here right now. And so I was like, that's pretty cool to know that like this is, and that's interesting how I started with like, why do I write? Like, am I meant to be a writer? Because that showed me like, wow, if not writing, just storytelling or traveling and creating, and kind of not feeling ashamed of that or that I'm like running away from something, but realizing that, wow, so I do get that same feeling in my body of like, I'm dead sober, well, right now, but like, say I'm like in Japan and I'm dead sober and I'm just like watching life go by on a street corner, and I'm like, literally, I can feel it in my bones, like my blood, the intensity and like just energy. I'm like, this is what I'm meant to be doing.
This is it. This is what you're here for.
This is why I'm here.
I think what's coming up for me is one of the biggest things you take back from these peak experiences, Burning Man, big vacation, silent retreat. You take back a new perspective. You're able to see your life from a different vantage point. It's like the fish who's swimming in water, who's the last to know that what is water.
Right.
And you're able to take a look at your life and say, is this what I want? It's like that beautiful pause to just take a moment and reevaluate. And you might be like, yes, can't wait to get back to my routines. Or if you're like me, when I came back from Japan, I was like, no, I need to make some big changes. So what you bring back is a new perspective.
For sure. Yeah, that's it. Like and it's hard to, like, I didn't want to take the step. Like I told Morgan, I'm like, it'll definitely be harder going, or it'll be easier not going to Burning Man. Like things will just be easier. Don't have to plan it. It takes something out of your life, but it gives you so much. And it's like scary to do these experiences and to throw yourself into the unknown, to what's strange and unfamiliar. It doesn't have to be obviously a music festival. It doesn't have to be traveling. It could be anything that just shakes you up. And it could be dating somebody who you didn't think you would want to be dating, or like different type of person, or quitting your job and like being like, I'm gonna try this thing, like this random thing that like, and see what happens. And then you come back to what you were doing before and you're a changed person. And I think that is the point, is it's seeing, also realizing that like who you were in this other place, you're wearing crazy outfits and stuff, but like that's you too. That's not like this act, unless you're like acting, but like that's you. And to realize that and be like, I am a creative person. Like I am an artist. Like I'm out there and I'm loving the art and stuff. I'm just like obsessed with this crazy shit. Like, and then I come home to my accounting job. I'm like, I don't think I'm an artist anymore. It's like, dude, no, like don't discredit what you became, what you felt out there and the conversations you had. Even if you were drinking or on drugs or something, like that's still you. And, yeah, just, to realize like there's more levels to you and more layers and more depth to you than you understand. And you need to make contact with these strange and foreign, mysterious, weird things to maybe unearth that.
I think every aspect of yourself can be unveiled. You can learn new pieces of yourself in these experiences. And I think it's anything that interrupts the pattern. Like you said, it doesn't need to be some big life-changing trip. And when you said I came back as a changed person, I think you actually come back as the same person, but you realize you need to change things. And then you have the opportunity to go take action because you have this new perspective. And so I love all of it. Anything else we want to say about Burning Man before we transition?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. If anything comes up, I will share. Yeah, just it's hard to come back. You know, like I was definitely just like a bag of shambled emotion upon return. Just like, damn, that was awesome. You feel deeply, you miss the people. So it takes time, and just being easier on yourself. And yeah, no, I think I'll go back in a couple of years.
Great.
If the opportunity arises.
I may or may not be with you. We shall see.
You're going to be there, bud.
I don't think I could do the camping, but if I had an RV with some AC, take a shower every once in a while.
Yes.
We'll see.
It's very, very doable.
Yeah. So I want to keep going down this road of human connection because that's such a big piece of Burning Man. And I just wanted to talk briefly about the experience we had yesterday when me, you, and Mo were sitting at that coffee shop in Solana Beach. We're all working on our laptops. I was writing my newsletter. You were writing your newsletter. Mo, who knows what he was doing? Probably playing computer games. He was writing a toast.
He was.
It was amazing. He shared it with us. But we're doing our work, and just these two older gentlemen next to us. One of the guys looks at us. He's like, "What are you guys working on?" Just classic old guy question. And we just had this conversation. They're two cardiologists. Kind of turned into like them trying to give us a little life advice, asking what we were doing. And it's just a beautiful moment of sharing. And I love those kind of ad hoc human interactions.
Yeah, that was funny. Like you could tell he was just like delighted to see us, and just like, I mean, it was 7 a.m. and we're at this coffee shop on Saturday morning, just like all three of us on our computers.
Locked in.
It's like, what are these guys doing? Taking over the world? Perhaps. And yeah, you could just tell he's been through stuff and he's seen stuff, and he's just like happy to be there. I love that. I love when like you see somebody who's just like, they've been through shit, but they're just like so content with a simple existence now. And who knows? Like, but he seemed like a pretty relatively simple fella.
And I loved that his buddy was kind of resistant at first. Wasn't saying much. He's like, God damn it. Here he goes again, talking to strangers. But by the end of it, he's getting involved. It's just a fun experience.
Yeah. And dude, that's what I've missed, like being in Japan. Like I've definitely missed the overhearing people talking and just being able to just sit there and just like, not eavesdropping, but just
I miss being able to eavesdrop.
My number one thing that I miss, eavesdropping. Just like feeling like you're kind of a part of something. Like if I could just hear these conversations, like it's comforting. You never know it's who you're gonna talk to. Like this guy, human connections, just, yeah, dude, definitely miss it. And like part of me is a little trepidatious to go back and just know that I'm gonna be on my own again, and then also realizing that it's all part of the journey. But yeah, love that. I was chilling for a bit, going back and forth between, because I had to write my newsletter, but also like, okay, should probably listen to this guy. But do you drop any wisdom on you? Because I went to the bathroom for a little bit.
I mean, I just really resonate with what you said of the strangers talking to us, not specifically me. Like when he was talking to me, I was looking at him, but also trying to juggle getting the newsletter done.
Yeah.
It's like difficult. How much do you engage in those moments and kind of let go of the plan you had for the morning?
Right.
To just be with whoever, whatever comes up.
Yeah, I was feeling that for sure. I was like, okay, do I just like keep doing this because I got to do it? Or do I just like give my full attention to a stranger? You know, Jordan Peterson says, act as if every person you meet has something to teach you, which is definitely true.
Yeah. Good
or bad. Try to have that mindset. But have you been talking to strangers much?
Less than I was when I was doing my 100 days of rejection. But one thing I actually noticed the other day, I can weave this in here. I've gotten really comfortable talking to strangers, meeting strangers, and building rapport quickly, because I have so many of these coaching sessions with leaders and companies. And the first session, never met them. We have to build rapport quickly. And then I also do these group coaching sessions where I'll have a group of anywhere from 4 to 12 executives in a company. Never met them before. We have 1 hour together, and then we'll never see each other again.
Wow.
And it's like, how do you bring a group together quickly, build rapport, kind of establish authority, because I am teaching them and coaching them through something. And it's just really helped me in life. I think that's one of the most important skills to learn, is get comfortable being uncomfortable and get comfortable talking to strangers. That was one of the biggest learnings I had from deciding to go all of 2020 and 2021 sober.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you actually have to learn how to talk to people.
Yeah.
You have to build character and charisma and become interesting. You can't just drink 5 beers and then it'll figure itself out.
Exactly, yeah. Well, 2 questions. Well, one's a comment, one's a question. Jordan Peterson also says, if you're going to go sober, you need to find a more interesting adventure. You need to find something more interesting than drinking, which is a great thing. Like, the reason I have done sober bouts is just like, you get so much more done. Like, it's because I want to do something, accomplish something. And it's great waking up on weekends and just being like, I feel limitless.
It's a gift.
A Saturday morning, wake up and just like, you don't have to work, but you can like do what you're interested in, like go surf and stuff. That's the first thing. Find a better adventure. Second thing, yeah. So what is the way to build rapport in those early stages when you just meet somebody new? Dude, even at Burning Man, like something to weave in. It's not like I'm having like deep, profound conversations with everybody. It's actually not that frequent. I had only a handful, maybe. But like, you're still just in this kind of ecosystem of new people, and you are definitely having just surface level conversations as well. And I kind of took the pressure off. Like, I'm like, okay, don't feel bad. Like, you don't have to be freaking digging into the past of every person you meet. Like, it's okay to just even sit there with a stranger and like not feel the need to talk if you don't want to. Like, you're tired, hungover, like it's but you're just chilling. Like, I'm like, okay, dude, there's nothing wrong with just chilling, and like, that's fine. So that being said, when you did get into it, you could tell like when you actually want to go deeper with somebody, and maybe like, why is it that you want to?
I think one of the most important things when you're trying to get out of your comfort zone, trying to talk to people more, it's becoming a vibe architect, to steal a term from Chris Williamson. Wow. It really is all about making the other person feel comfortable. And you can get super tactical. You can read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. You can watch Charisma on Command on YouTube and learn all these little things. But it really is just make the other person feel comfortable, make them feel seen, make them feel heard. I love to bring a little humor in if I can get someone laughing, and not in like a stand-up comedy type of way, but just little playfulness into the conversation. That works so well, because if they're comfortable, then it's just easy. And then in the comfort, you can feel, do we want to go deeper? Do we want to keep this on the surface?
Right.
That's like the technical answer. And then the less technical answer is just try. That's all it is. Just repetition over and over again.
Yeah.
If you fail and it's awkward, no one dies.
Also, what I've found, like because I've told at Burning Man, I was telling my Japan story a lot, and like, just be like, where do you live? I'm in Tokyo. Like, that opens up a whole conversation. And when I was just like kind of burnt out, just like ask questions instead. Just be like, just put it on them. And that works in both, like, works for you if you don't want to talk much, and also it makes them like you. Like, people love being asked questions, and that's a good way to have a good conversation. Just keep asking. But being the vibe conductor, I use that term. It's like just, well, kind of a different thing, but
vibe composer, conductor, architect, whatever you want to say.
There we go. Yeah, it's something you can't really learn, though. It's to like feel somebody's energy. Like, you gotta, it takes repetition.
You can learn but you practice.
Right. That's better said. Yeah, it's feel. It's like, what's this person giving me? And if they're not giving anything, don't force the issue. But it is definitely an important thing, important skill. it makes life sweeter, and it is definitely what I missed. I get so in my own head in Japan, just not being able to talk to people, and then eventually break down and start crying to you.
It's great. I look forward to those calls every single time. There's one last idea that I want to work into this episode. Maybe we can bring this in and then wrap it up with this. And it's this idea I learned about of where ideas come from. It's so cool to hear where Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, like these huge works of art and creation that change the course of humanity.
Yeah.
Like, where did that idea come from? And I was reading Stephen Pressfield. He's the author of War of Art, Do the Thing, Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be, also Legend of Bagger Vance, Gates of Fire. He's written so many different books, some about history, some about self-help, some about overcoming resistance. And I'm reading, it's called The Daily Pressfield. It's just these little excerpts. And he talks about where his idea came from for The Legend of Bagger Vance. It's his first book ever. And he says, one day on the airplane, I thought, I'm going to steal this. I'm going to use the structure of the Bhagavad Gita to write a story about golf. He's on an airplane, he's reading the Bhagavad Gita, and it just pops into his head. Most people would be like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I can't take this ancient spiritual text and write a novel about golf. And he does. And he says, I didn't know it then, but that loony idea would change my life. And I was just so struck by this, that passing thought that most people would say, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Go on with their daily life. He took it, sat down, wrote a book, and within a year, it was turned into a movie. Will Smith, I think Robert Redford was directing it. Just insane how we can take just that small idea that drops into us. He believes that we don't own ideas, that ideas kind of float around and they'll choose you. And if you don't act on the idea, it'll float on to someone else.
Someone else will take it. Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. And that also ties into just like why you need to have these, why you need to shake up your routine and put yourself in new places and do new things is to be inspired. And that is definitely something that I have espoused, as a writer, like being like, yeah, if I read Ray Bradbury, who's very creative and wacky and just like colorful writing, I'm going to try writing like that. And that has definitely inspired my writing. And then if I read Hemingway, it's like write more just like clean travel stuff and being like, it's not that you don't own anything, but it's okay to like take from the world. Like this is good. James Clavell, Shogun, the author of Shogun.
Oh yeah.
He's just like this, if you read Shogun, it's like, who could have created this book? It's my favorite book of all time, possibly yours as well. It inspired me, I'd say, in a big way to go to Japan and like want to live there. And it's just this behemoth of a book it just turned into a show as well. 1600 is the year, and this English sailor washes upon Japan with this Dutch crew and basically becomes the right-hand man of the shogun and is enwebbed into the the ins and outs of this crazy Japanese feudal world that's like all about deception and treachery, and it's just an insane book. And who is this guy, James Clavell? Like, who is this legend? And actually, I looked him up, which is a great thing to do if you ever are interested in somebody. And he has like interviews from, I think he wrote the book in like 1980 or something. And he did this interview, and the Japanese like interviewer is like, how do you know this stuff? Like, how do you know how they spoke in 1600? You're a Brit, like I think he's from Australia, but like born in Britain. And he's like, well, there's a well of knowledge that's free for anyone to tap into. And I just tapped into it. And you can't fight that. It's like there is this universal well of information and knowledge and beauty that is just, it's why I write. Like, I love just like tapping into this source of meaning. And like, I'm so inspired by like musical lyrics and just like, yeah, nothing's that original. Like, everything's been done, but not by you. anything can be, adjusted and like put in your style. And a lot of people I think will be afraid because they're like, I can't copy that, or I can't do it. But you don't know what will happen if you try copying something, and then as you create it, how much it becomes your thing. You just never know. And yeah, I think ideas are everywhere.
They are, and Stephen Pressfield talks about how there's the you who's typing the words on the page, and then there's the you who's creating the idea, and the you, in a spiritual sense, is your daemon. It's your genius. That's what they used to believe, like back in the day, in Greek and Roman times. It wasn't you are a genius; it's you have a genius, and
Right.
your genius is the spirit that you're channeling, the muse, where the wisdom comes from, and that's how Brit can know all of this about ancient Japan.
Clavel.
Obviously, a lot of research. Yeah.
Brit. Yeah. Seriously, it's all there for the taking, and there's something to be created by you that nobody's done before. So, get after it.
I think we're gonna end where we always end. It's where we started. It's where we'll end, which is just start.
Just start. Take the step. Yeah, that was what I wrote about also with this story. That kind of just what I'm feeling right now is like, it does feel like I'm at a bit of a crossroads as well. Like so I'm going back to Japan. I don't know if I ever really answered like why I came to California. I guess it was.
I think you did.
Yeah. But, I'm still looking for a new job in Japan, in Tokyo, something like for a magazine or something. Trying to publish
ass model.
Pure ass model.
Just buns of steel.
Buns and thighs. I don't know what. Like, I think I got one more year in Japan. I don't know what's gonna happen, and it's daunting for sure. Like, I'm like, when am I going back to Japan? Where do I want to live next? What am I really doing? But I'm like, it's all happening. Like, it feels like there's something happening right now that's like, how do I even explain it? It just feels like my life is changing. Just like underneath the foundation is like shifting seismically. And on the surface, cracks maybe bubbling through. Things are starting to... Got a rejected letter from Time Out Tokyo. I was going to, it was my pretty much dream job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Last week, finally got back to me. And my mom was like, print it out. And we're like, in 30 years, be like, fuck you.
Let's go.
When you're big. So it's like, things are happening, things are moving, it's exciting. And then, dude, the dam's going to burst. And I say this because, like, if you listener feel like you're in the position of, like, you don't see where things are going, like, you don't have the direction, you're at a crossroads, you see the signpost, you don't know which way to go, just go. Like, take a left or take a right, go somewhere and, like, see where it leads, and maybe do something that you wouldn't expect yourself to do in the past, or try something new, and just see where it goes. Because, like, underneath the foundation of, like, what makes you you, and that stuff, I mean, I've thought about this, like, what's real, that or this, back to that concept. That feels like more real to me, but it's unquantifiable stuff. It's not the job, it's not the relationship, it's like who you are, and the fleeting connections you might have, which you don't think about anymore, like the person you met. And it's like, that is the bricks that are creating the foundation of, like, your life. And it's hard to see that stuff. It's hard to quantify it, but that shit matters. And be easy on yourself, because things are happening. And yeah, take a step, left or right.
And I think that's one of the things you said that resonated with me the most. It's the only thing you said today that's resonated is it would be a lot easier if we didn't. It'd be a lot easier if I didn't go to Burning Man. It'd be a lot easier if I didn't go back to Japan. But it's not supposed to be easy. And it's through that discomfort and getting out of your comfort zone, shifting things around, that you do make the space for the new to emerge.
1,000%. That is why I'm going back. Like, okay, yeah, it would be easier, I guess, to just, like, I don't know. I don't think I would stay here, but I'm not looking for what's easy. Like, it's this goes beyond that, like life and finding what's meaningful and what's true to who you are. And that's also plays into bringing what you have in those peak experiences back to normal life. It's not going to be easy. You're not going to find yourself out there and it's like, no, I did it. I'm an artist. It's like, now the work begins of like, what do I fucking want to do? How do I bring what I felt out there into life and like make my life that, not that exciting necessarily, but like that meaningful. And meaning is very hard sometimes. Like a big part of the story was just how much it hurts. Like saying bye to people and saying bye to you guys again when I go to Japan. And like,
can't wait for you to go back.
Like the passion hurts, you know?
Yeah.
And life is just a trip because of those highs and the lows. They make it that much better, both sides.
Yes.
You know?
It's been so much fun getting to be here with you in the studio, looking into those sweet eyes. Yeah, I'm man, we're over time. I can't wait for this to be over. But in this brief time we had together, it was special. I love you so much.
Love you so much, buddy.
So glad we're doing this together. I'm going to cut you out eventually, but until then.
You're already funneling all the funds straight into your account.
Yes.
So
making off like a bandit. But thanks for being here, bud. I love you.
Fucking love you, man. Love all y'all listening. This is insane. This is first time in this studio. It's fucking awesome. God damn it. Can't believe it's happening. Like, from that first episode to this, and we're only 182 episodes in. JTB, just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in with us today. We love you guys.
Peace.
Hey guys, it's Gregory, and real quick before you go, if you liked this episode, if you've liked any episode of the Dare to Dream podcast, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you are listening to this. It's the quickest way to support me and Vinny, and it makes sure that hopefully we won't end up homeless on the streets.